Alright people, this is Luna Titanium here, and I'm sure I've put this off long enough. First things first here, I want to start off this video by saying I know things look a little different than what I normally do, and that is because I'm sort of going back to the way back original format I was doing on this little table here with my camera and not doing this on my computer desk, which is also my workstation for actual building and stuff. So I figured trying this back out. I know the backdrop sucks right now, but at least it still brings out the appearance here. See, as you can tell, the contrast there. So it's still going to bring out the appearance of the whatever mobile suit I'm working on, whatever model. So bear with me with that for just a little while longer. I'll probably have the full backdrop with the actual cloth backdrop up hopefully next video, which shouldn't be too much longer. We'll still be seeing the Zaku on this one. Anyway, because that's what we're getting into right now. We're going to do a frame review for the Zaku 2 right here. Yep, the MS06 Zaku 2J. This is, of course, the 2.0 frame here. And I'm also going to do a bit of a work in progress update here, because otherwise there's just not that much to talk about. And, well, for starters here, as we can all see, looking at the Zaku here, I've done a rather interesting paint job here. Done a gunmetal base coat on this thing with a rust wash on this. So the rust coat on this guy isn't going to be as prominent and noticeable as it is on the rest of the armor pieces, but we'll get to those armor pieces in just a bit. Now, as far as the true review on this frame, let me start off by saying I've never put together a Zaku 2.0 before. This is my first one. And, well, for those of y'all that saw the unboxing video, I know this must be just blowing some minds here already. But, yeah, this is my first Zaku 2.0 I've ever put together. And everything people have been telling me, this is just the greatest fucking kit in the world. And the greatest inner frame, the greatest everything on this thing. And they ain't lying. I've been loving this kit from start to right now. You know, there's just, this thing is just so damn great. But anyway, so before we get into the articulation and everything over this thing, we're just going to go right into my paint job that I've done on it. A little bit of stuff like that. So let's talk about this paint job here. Well, I wanted to make it seem like the Zaku itself has been in a rainforest type jungle like setup and scenario. And of course, it would get into the armor, and it would go through the Zaku's armor eventually with the rain constantly pouring down on it. And the frame itself would rust, but not as much. So I've done this in a few lighter coats here. And let's give it a good spin around here so you can see the back of it too. It's got all that, and I made sure to put a lot of the deeper rust here into the crevices and crannies and cracks there, as well as everywhere else. Now I did this in as light as coats as possible to save the gimmicks of the suit. See, the mono eye is still going to turn. That's one thing about this frame that I love, is that fucking mono eye turns there. That's awesome. Yeah, sorry about the jump cut there, people. Not used to reaching around the camera like this, and I'm not gonna lie, I knocked it over. I had to edit part out that I didn't even know it was still knocked over because I was still talking. So I don't really remember where I was, but I knew I was on the paint job and that stuff. So let's get back into this. Trying to stay on topic here. Yeah, mostly I just tried to paint in like places like right here. See if I can scoot that back a little bit for you. Just try to paint in the rust on areas wherever I thought, you know, water would pool or catch, like under the skirt here, especially where humidity would be falling up from the ground. As well as down in here on the panel lines of like the front parts and anywhere of these recesses where water might pool. And now I know what some people might be thinking of as a mobile suit. Wouldn't it be a sealed system? Yes and no, from what I understand. You know, just the efforts of doing routine maintenance and lifting all these panels daily, basically, would be enough to cause moisture and trap moisture in there, especially if you're in a rainforest type area. But let's get into some other places I painted on in here. I made sure to hit up these details here inside the shoulder pretty damn good. At least I think so. And even under the armor here is done up. I really didn't want to skip too much on the detail level here. But yeah, I mean, so far I'm pretty proud of this paint job. And as far as the paint job on the armor goes, we're going to talk about that a little later because I'm not quite done with it. But I am done with most of it, so you will be seeing a little bit of that. But let's talk a little more about this frame for now. Alright, so with the frame here, I'm going to start with some articulation here. It can look up about that much without the aid of the stomach crunch there. It's on a single ball joint down there, which the neck can turn, but usually I'm just going to be turning it here on this top ball joint. And if you can't tell, that mono eye can turn on its own, which I just think that is amazing. That is so cool. Alright, let's see here. Next we got the arms, which will move forward on this neat piston gimmick about that much right there. And you gotta be careful getting those back in to slide back in, but they will. But just take it easy and watch yourself when you're doing that. The shoulder joints here are on ball joints. With that bending, they can wiggle around a little bit, about that much. And the arm can go out the full bend right there. Of course, rotate at the shoulder. And a pretty crisp and clean, nice double bend here at the elbow. As you can see right there, like that. Next up on there, we have the armor connections. Those, I guess you could call them manipulator arms, I guess. Here, actually, on the shoulders. And you just saw me use this one just a second ago, but I'm going to use this one now. See, they can go out about that far. But it's on a full hinge joint right here. So they can go all over the place. But that is with the limitations of the armor eventually. Now, so far, the only complaints I have right here is with these, where the hands are supposed to be. There's a piece of armor that I'm supposed to attach here. So that's the only part of this that's not a complete inner frame. Well, moving on. Next up we have a really nice ab crunch due to this hinge system in here. Right in the center here. See, the zaku can crunch forward like that, but it can also go back quite a pretty nice distance there. And moving on, here we've got the back skirt, which is on a two-piece ball joint system there. Go up and down. You got your side skirts here. They can go up and down on a ball joint and swing in and out to clearance for the legs. And that's pretty damn neat. We got our traditional universal joints here on the hips and thighs, so your legs can go out about that far and go back pretty far also, with giving clearance of the skirt armor. Now I don't know how well that's going to be when I actually put the armor on, but we'll see. So moving on from there, hips are on a universal joint, can spin 360 degrees. And we've got a very nice double bend here with this knee, showing some nice part separation there. And I know I'm just going to love that when the armor actually goes on it. Straighten that back out for you. Moving on lastly here, we are at the feet. And that's on a swivel joint here on top. And on the feet here, these pistons actually do move in and out. Take this foot off, show you. See here in the back. Hopefully I wasn't shaking that camera too much just now. See that piston movement right there in the back and in the front. And all of this here is on a ball joint, as you can see right here. So that's going to go side to side on the ankle. And lastly, got a toe bend here that'll go up about that far. And of course we know damn. And wouldn't you know it, I knocked the camera over again. And sorry for the jump cut. One more time. Today is just not my day. What I was saying there was, we know damn well that when I put the armor onto that foot, that big giant toe bend is going to be restricted. But, hey, good prospects. I'm not mad at this thing whatsoever. You know, honestly, you know, just taking into account for what it is, this has got to be one of the best, if not the best, inner frame I think I've ever seen. You know, all in all, it's solid. Sure, it doesn't connect directly to the hands, but I can get over that, you know. And just all things considered here, you know, money well spent on this thing so far. And, you know, I've already put in about a week's work just on the paint job of the armor alone. And I started snapping this inner frame up as I went, you know, on, I think I started doing it this weekend, and sort of painting the parts of the armor side by side with the armor. And then I know some people might be thinking, damn, that's fast. Well, it is what it is. I was hand painting, so it tends to go a little faster with that. And I really haven't had any sort of trouble with that. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is these cables here on the legs. Kind of like in the real grade, they use a spring tension system here. But in a larger scale like this, God, I just think they did it so much better than on the real grade. And I prize the real grade Zaku 2 as one of the best real grades that they've made so far. But all things considered, anyway, people, so that's pretty much this frame review. It's amazing. This is the gold standard. I'm sure you've heard it all at this point. Alright, well, I'm going to pause this part right here, and I'm going to gather up some other pieces, and I'm going to show you sort of a work in progress type thing that I'm still doing right now. Alright. Alright, so I left the Zaku here for reference, and as you can see, some parts there under the Zaku. That's what we're going to be showing off. But for quick reference here, to remember what colors I was using, Tamiya khaki drab. Next was Tamiya metallic gray or gunmetal. Next up, Tamiya gray green. And lastly was Model Masters Rust Enamel. And those paints so far have just worked spectacularly. So I'm going to sort of show you a good example here. And that would be the back skirt piece right here on the work in progress. So you can see this is one of the first pieces I did, and I do need to touch up some of the gray or the gunmetal effects in there a little bit, make it look a little more metallic. This should show you a bit where I'm going with this. This is the inside of that, but we flip it around here. And here's the actual paint job itself. You'll see that I put the rust coat down first and highlighted with some of the metallics, and then went over it and dotted some paint on there to look like it chipped off. And it sort of shows up really well here on the chest piece. So first things first, most people are going to notice that Midnight Fenrir decal right there. I don't know how well you can see that. Back off a little bit. But I gave this a full coat of rust. then hit it with the gunmetal, just shine it up a little bit, and then went over it with a little bit of black wash before putting that decal on, and then I hit it with some more black wash also. So faded it up quite nice. So that's kind of what we have to expect going right here on the center of the zaku. I don't know how well people can see that. There we go. So that's kind of what we're expecting here. Pop that piece off. And same thing here is on this arm covering there. Shit. Told you guys it's just not my day today. Can't hold on to nothing. Keep dropping the camera. Alright, so there's another one of our Midnight Fenrir decals here. Again, base coat of rust, metal detailing, and then dotted on the paint here. And of course, that's going to be going right about here on the shoulder piece. So set that above it there to give you a look. I don't know how well you can see that. Alright, moving on. Now this was another one of the first pieces I did, and I wanted a lot of weathering on this guy versus the others because it's round. So constantly rain would just be sliding down the curves of this. So I still left the rank marking and a tattered and torn Zegon symbol that's seen better days on both of these. And after the rust was on there, I just went over it with the that khaki green and just dotted that in sporadic places, and then went with the gray wash over it, the black wash I should say, over it, and just sort of darkened and grunged it up. That's where we're going so far. Like I said, these the rest of the parts they're almost done, and I still got a little way, but these should sort of bring y'all up to speed. Now this here's the waist piece right here. So I didn't paint the inside, but here's the waist piece for the zaku, and again more rust, more dotted on paint. This time I didn't take off as much paint on this one, and I took that into consideration that it would be up under the chest armor panels. So I wanted the chest armor to be taken off more than that, and that's what I'm getting to next. Here is one of the side plates of the chest where that would be hitting. See up here on top of it we have a lot of rust and blotchy paint and stuff like that, and gunmetal hanging out. I mean, still some of the decals are here invisible, but I've cut those up and blurred them. It's got that going on. See paint parts where rain's pulled underneath and that's removed. And same thing on the back. I did have this white stripe along here that I've sort of tattered and torn up, and you can see the discoloration right there where the white stripe used to be, even on the front there. So I thought that would look kind of neat in the final product. Moving on. So taking a chapter from the chest piece that I showed that was just supposed to be bare metal, I did the same thing to the backpack part right here. So you see this see this large splotch of rust right there, and on top, I just finished doing this piece earlier this morning. But as you can see, it's got a lot more bare metal than it does rust, but the areas it has rust is large areas. That's kind of what I was going for here. See more there on top. Alright. And of course, whatever is on top is going to be catching generally the most. Sort of like the shoulder I did the same here with the head. So that it's got this giant patch of removed paint, but also a lot of discoloration on there. As well as on this side, you know, it's got its rust, but it just didn't slide that way for whatever reason. Even on the commander flag right here of our zaku. Put that into focus here. There we go. As you can see here, even the commander flag has some areas of wear and tear. And on this side, it's slightly less. I'm pretty happy with how that piece turned out. Next up here, I got the shin guard of our zaku, and that has a lot of discoloration, and I wanted a lot of like weather effects to be catching on the bottom parts, but also with the paint chipping off and the side wear here, as you can see. All things considered with that, I think this turned out pretty good. I wanted more of the darker effects to be on the lower parts of the zaku. And I did that for good reason, because that way the legs are always going, the legs won't be dealing with rain so much, but they're going to be dealing with humidity and other sorts of problems. And I wanted that to show a little more, so dirt, humidity, all sorts of shit in the jungle. So moving on to our last piece here is the shield. I've already posted a few pictures up of this, but in case you haven't seen it, it's got 2 white stripes, a Midnight Fenrir decal, and a tattered and torn Principality decal. And, of course, base coated in the rust, highlighted with the gunmetal. And this is detailed and painted up with the gray-green. If I can hold on to the damn thing. Shit, what is my problem today, y'all? And it's got 3 sets of white stripes, but one of them would have been up here on top, but I've since removed that and did this sort of a detailed effect. So you can see where it used to be, and there's this large patch of rust and leftover paint. Okay, big white stripe there with the Midnight Fenrir decal, which has definitely seen better days. I went over that with a few washes of rust and the black. Principality of Zeon logo there. Definitely seen some better days. And our last white stripe that's in fairly better condition. Now, here's the back side of the shield, and that has a lot of rust. More so than probably any of the other parts I painted. And I'm not going to lie right now, it's very glossy because I just painted this piece maybe an hour ago. And enamel paint takes a while to set up properly, so it's still doing that. But I wanted the underside of the shield to be rusted to all hell because, well, the way I see it working is as the shield rests here on the zaku, sort of like that, all this sort of humidity funnels up and just, it's already around the tree line where humidity would corrugate. Or congregate, I should say. Corrugate? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyway, right around where the humidity would congregate would be right up there anywhere it could catch. So, of course, up under that shield is just going to be ludicrous. But, yeah, now you guys know more of my vision and direction with this. Now, I do have some more work to do. I know I said I was going to do a camo job on this guy, but for the time being, I don't know anymore. I've already darkened and changed the coats of paint here. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to go straight for that camo job. But all things considered, guys, I hope you're excited for everything I've done, and I hope you're excited to see the final product here. And I know I am, because I have been seriously enjoying this from start to finish. It's a wonderful kit. And I can't wait to get done with this just to show you guys. But anyway, people, this here has been Luna Titanium, and if you've enjoyed this, why don't you go ahead and leave me a like, or if you want to talk about this some more, leave me a comment down below. And if you're new here and you're impressed with what you see so far, even though this video was kind of a shit show, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to me. Alright guys, this has been Luna Titanium, saying I will see you guys.